Hello everyone, so today I have a pretty simple tip for you, but I think it's a really useful one and it has been talked about a lot in different places, and I already talked about it in the past, but I feel like it needs its own video, so let's get to it. It's about the best way to actually switch the panning of a library. So when you open a library, most of the time it's stereo recordings and they are pre-panned. That means that, for example, you will get the violins on the left or the basses on the right. And in many cases, that's good, but in some cases, you might actually want to switch the side because, say, you got too many instruments on the left, like you got like 3 different leads and they are all pre-panned on the left. Anyway, you might want one on the right, for example. So to actually switch an instrument to the other side, the best way is not to just force the panning. And as you can hear, the problem is that we kind of hear it in the middle, still in the left, but also on the right. Basically, it's not focused. So why is it not focused? That's because when it comes to panning, there is different parameters which affect how we perceive panning. One of them is, of course, the difference in level between the left and the right ear. So if we have more volume in the left ear than the right, it will feel like it's more on the left, but that's not all. There is also something called the Haas Effect, which is basically a delay between the left and the right ear. And in a stereo recording, when you record an instrument with a pair of mics, depending on which mic the instrument is the closest to, it will reach this mic first, which corresponds to your ear first. So for example, if this violin is on the left, then it will reach the left mic first and the right mic after. And there is a very small difference of a few milliseconds, but that's enough to tell your ear that it's coming from the left instead of the right. So if we just force the volume, we still have the timing difference between the two channels, left and right, which tells us that the violin is still coming from the left, even though we force the volume more on the right. So there's like a contradiction there, and that's why it doesn't work. But if you simply just swap the stereo channels, then what happens is that you also invert the timing difference. It's like a mirror. So suddenly you actually create the timing difference between the left and the right ear to get the signal on the right. And so once you swap the channels, you can actually just play around even more on the right if you want, or... But at least it sounds focused, right? Just try to compare if I just force the panning like that. Compared to... Yeah, everything is just more focused, more accurate, just more right. So that's why. So anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful and I will see you in another video. Cheers.